Greetings and welcome to another video by Sir Mike the Hedge Knight. We have another new character being introduced into the game. Couple of things. Before we dive in here, I think I opened up the wrong. Yeah, I want to have the gold summon open. The last new character that came out was the new Stannis. And I spent a little time early in the video with a little bit of a disclaimer saying, hey, unless this is a glitch. And then I went on to praise Zynga and said, boy, what a good job. Such a nice thing they did. But I did say, if this is a glitch and they take it out, I'm taking back everything I said. Well, now it's time to take back, it's time for the retraction. And what happened was when new Stannis came out, if you see the progress bar below, now you'll notice that it's 40 summons instead of 80, which for a gold dragon only summon, that was good. So that remained. That was a good change because to do 10x summons at 7,000 gold dragons a pop to get to 80 at 56,000 just seemed impossible. There might be a handful of players in the game. I guess they go out and buy the gold. So dropping it to 28,000, I've never had 28, but I think I've had 14 at times. But then a new character comes out and you spend it. So to get all the way up to 28 is very difficult. But what they had done when new Stannis came out was the progress bar was filled up already. And I was stunned when I saw it. I was up to 17 out of 40. I hadn't done a single summon. But the prior new character was the new Davos Seaworth. And I thought it was 16 summons, but now my guess is 17 since they had me at progress at 17 out of 40. And it carried over. And I said all sorts of good things about Zing. I said, oh, this is fantastic. So now, over time, now I don't have to wait and accumulate 28,000 gold and dump it into one character just to get 15 bonus shards. They'll let the gold dragon summon, because these summons, when these new characters come in, they're one and done. The summons is here, it goes away, it'll never come back. This is gold dragons only for the new character. You'll never see this again. So if you don't hit 40, the progress bar may as well not even be there. So I thought and hoped, it was wishful thinking, that intentionally they were letting that progress bar roll over. And maybe they'll bring it back, or maybe they're doing it by family. So Davos was a Baratheon, and the new Stannis was a Baratheon. So maybe that's why it carried over. I'm still hoping. I'm still holding on to hope, because I thought that would have been a really good change. Retraction over. A little disappointed that is now gone. So now let's dive into Tyrion Lannister, the Half-Man. So they made him a fighter, which is a little bit surprising to me thematically. He's got a fast speed skill. So that's good. We like to see that. And no, let's talk about this. So he grants a 20% power buff for 3 turns to all other allies. So note it's other. So he doesn't give it to himself, he'll give it to his allies. And let's talk a little bit about power and the counterpart to power, which is durability. So last week, when they rolled out the new Stannis, he had a durability buff. And it seems like power and durability are going to be opposites, kind of like attack and defense. So durability would be a percentage increase or decrease to incoming damage from enemy skills and abilities, while power is an increase or decrease, a percentage increase or decrease to damage dealt by your champion's skills and abilities. Like durability, they're capping it at plus or minus 90%. And I like the direction that they're going, because they've got to put some new abilities in the game so that every character they roll out doesn't feel the same. It's bad enough they're using a lot of the same names. So what I don't want to see is, oh, this guy has taunt and this guy's an AoE, and like that's all fine. The core mechanics in this game are very, very good, and I think they're fairly well balanced. But it's nice to have something different to give us a new toy to play with. 20% power buff, 3 turns to his allies. 3 turns is not a lot. So my first thought is we have a character with a fast speed skill. So chances are, all else being equal with gems, and the boards are not always equal, but all else being equal, he's probably going to have his skill ready before many of his allies. So in the first couple turns, you make a couple of red matches, Tyrion is ready to go, but you're thinking, well, I don't really want to use him yet, because if I put a power buff on my allies, and the power buff it's not for gem damage, it's only for their skills and abilities. If their skills aren't ready to trigger anytime soon, they're not going to be able to avail themselves of that 20%. So there'll be a little bit of strategy with, sometimes his skill might be ready and you might want to delay a turn or two so that that some of your other characters, they'll at least be able to get their skill off before this 3-turn buff expires. He then strikes an enemy for 200% attack physical damage. So I got to say, for a single target attack for a fighter with a high attack rating, fast speed skill, I'm already happy. 20% power buff or not, fast speed skill, 200% single target attack. Bring on Rhaegal. Like, let me throw him against the dragon. Let me see what he can do. Now, the Lannisters, they got revamped a couple of months ago, and they introduced this concept of coins and the treasury. The idea is the Lannisters, they have skills that are good, but they're really good if you have enough coins in the treasury. If there are 4 coins in the treasury when he uses his skill, his allies will each strike the same enemy for 125% attack physical damage. This is an absolute bomb. This is a nuke. This is, if you've got a full complement, if your full 5-member team is active, you've got Tyrion the fighter doing a 200% single target attack, and then everyone else on the team getting their licks in at 125% attack to a single target. I mean, that is really, really powerful. And the strongest enemy gets deceived. They can't use their skill for 3 turns. So really, really liking his skill. Leadership ability seems like it has some uses. When any team member uses a skill, he gets 10% durability for 3 turns. 10% doesn't sound like a lot. Maybe you get a bunch of skills off in succession, so they sort of stack. You get up to like 30, 40%. So that gives him, he's a fighter, so he's a little on the squishy side. Not too much. He's not super squishy like a marksman, but, he's not a protector either. So it gives him a little bit more survivability. And if the team member is a Lannister, so they're encouraging you to use 4 or 5 Lannisters on the team, you'll spawn some coins. You're going through coins very quickly as the combat continues. So you have to find ways of not just doing damage, but keep the coins flowing. His passive is pretty decent. And, I wasn't big on the idea of HP guards for a while. So, HP guard at 10%. I said, well, once I'm down to 10%, thank you for letting me live. I'll probably live one more turn. So, but now that I'm thinking about it, and this goes back to what I mentioned last week on the new Stannis video, and back before that, it was back when Meryn Trant came out. I don't want to take credit for it. It was another content creator that posted a video that said they're kind of coming out with answers for the Greens, or maybe not full answers, but ways that people can try to build a team that might be able to at least sort of hang in there and feel like you have a fighting chance against the Greens. But it seems like they're trying to come out with things. They don't want to nerf the Greens, because if they nerf the Greens, all the people that spent all their money, all the big whales, will probably get pissed and leave. So they're going to try to just roll out some new characters that have some interesting abilities that might be able to level the playing field a little bit. And that's what I'm thinking with this HP guard. So if you're going against the Greens and Tyrion gets just absolutely nuked by I think it's Aemond Targaryen, that's the big single target attacker, the big nuker on the Greens. If he happens to target Tyrion and he just wipes him out, just having that HP guard, it buys you a turn. It buys you a turn. And we'll see here, it buys you more than a turn. And this is where it gets interesting. So the HP guard triggers in at 10%, so he can't be one shot. When it's activated, he gets a 15% max HP shield. Oh, okay. Going from 10% to 25% it's nice, but against nuking type teams, so maybe he's alive 2 turns instead of 1. But he also gains 50% stamina. Maybe now he's ready to go. And he deceives all enemies for 2 turns. They can't use none of the enemies can use their skill now for 2 turns. So I'm thinking, I've got Tyrion the Half-Man on my team. I've got a Lannister team. He gets nuked. He's down to 10%. Oh no, HP guard kicks in. He gets some shield. And now every member of the Greens is deceived for 2 turns. So with all their birthright and all their starting stamina, I get 2 turns to hit back before they can just completely unload. Pretty interesting stuff. So let's take a look at the Lannister roster. The Lannisters got some help this year. So a few months ago was the new Hound, Purple Sandor Clegane. He's both Baratheon and Lannister. Now, I wasn't a big fan of him. I think some people are. It didn't work for me. Meryn Trant came shortly after that, and now Tyrion Lannister. So it looks like we've got, I wouldn't say we've got the depth of the Starks or perhaps even the Baratheons yet, but it looks like they're kind of rounding out. That definitely is a step in the right direction. So what do we think about new Tyrion Lannister, the Half-Man? I like him. I like him a lot. And it's concerning to me because I went down the road before of playing a quote unquote free app where you don't have to spend money, and then I started. So far in this app, I'm up to $56 total American. I'm trying to cut it off there. I'm trying to build a dam. I think I'm comfortable with where I am. I'm happy with my teams. I'm competitive in events. I'll never get to the Iron Throne, and I'm good. And then they start rolling out these new characters. Now, new Stannis last week, even though I'm a Baratheon, my primary team is the Baratheons. Uh, I liked him. I thought he was interesting. I said, yeah, I could sub him in here. I could sub him in there. But he didn't make me feel like, boy, I just really want to. I just want to run out and spend a bunch of money and get a bunch of them. I'm looking at this guy, and first of all, my Lannister team needs help, as you saw when I looked at my roster to begin with. But really strong fighter that'll have a really good attack, fast speed skill, which becomes essentially a nuke. Like you could probably get that off very early, second, third turn of combat. If you play with at least 4 Lannisters, you start with 4 coins. You could start with a bang. He's got the HP guard where he deceives enemies. It buys your whole team a couple of, he stays alive, buys your team a couple of turns to stay alive and maybe heal or recoup or fight back a little bit. And they're making me, these corporations, they know what they're doing. They're making me want to open my wallet up. Like I'm not going to. I'm going to resist the urge, and perhaps because it's summer. The only saving grace is it's summer. It's nice out. When winter rolls around, man, it's going to be tough. It's going to be if they keep putting out characters like this, I'm going to have a very hard time resisting that urge to spend some money and even if it's not my primary team, just to play around with some of these new characters and see how they work. And hey, maybe I can pair them up with this one and create some synergy or create a hybrid team. It looks like the game looks like it's headed in a very interesting direction. So overall, I like Tyrion. I think the Lannisters needed some help. They're now getting it. I think he's a good piece to the puzzle. I think he's going to help their faction. I think this power mechanic that they're introducing is going to be very interesting. So I like this character. I am not going to pursue it because I'm going to maintain my light spender status at this point in time. If you've accumulated a lot of gold in the game and you want to give them a go, I mean, my advice would be, or if you're rounding out your roster and you're, like I said in my introductory video, if you're not spending a lot or not spending anything, you've got to try to build teams that'll do well in the tower. The Crowns Challenge. The Crowns Challenge just opened up again yesterday. Yeah, I wish if I had 14,000 gold and I wasn't planning on doing anything with it, I think because if you have 7,000, you get them to you might get them to 3. You might get them to 3. If you've got 14,000 and you can do 20 summons, you probably won't get to 4, but you're going to get deep into 3. And if you get a couple of lucky pulls, you even have a shot at 4. And 3 and 4 is where characters start to become interesting, where you can start mixing and matching them with your other 3 and 4 star and maybe some 5-star characters. So I like him. I think he's a good addition to the game, and he'll just be on my wish list. Like I'll wish that I had the unlimited funds that I could run out and get him. Please comment below. Let me know what you think about the new Tyrion Lannister, and we will see you soon.